The cry of Mirembe. Mirembe's village, nestled in the heart of Uganda, was a patchwork of red earth, thatched roofs, and fields of golden cassava. The mornings were greeted by the songs of birds, the rustling leaves swayed in harmony with the wind, and the distant laughter of children echoed as they chased each other barefoot across the dusty paths. Life here was simple, and for Mirembe, simplicity held a certain magic. She loved the way the village women sang while pounding millet, their voices rising in sweet harmony that seemed to blend with the natural symphony of the world around them. Her days were filled with small joys, fetching water from the well with her best friend Aken, learning folk tales from her grandmother under the old baobab tree, and tending to her family's small garden where she often pretended to be a farmer queen, ruling over rows of thriving beans and maize. But under this tranquil surface, life was a daily struggle. The villagers lived on the edge of poverty, their survival dependent on the fickle seasons and a single harvest that could easily be ruined by drought or pest. Mirembe's mother, Nafula, often worked from dawn until dusk, her hands callous from toil, yet she never allowed despair to seep into their home. "We are like the cassava," Nafula would often say. "Strong and resilient, we grow even in the hardest soil." Her laughter, rich and full, was the glue that held their family together. Mirembe often marveled at her mother's strength, wishing to grow up with the same courage and determination. The bond they shared was unspoken yet profound, a thread of love and trust that made their modest life feel abundant. One fateful afternoon, the tranquility of their village was shattered. News arrived that armed militia groups were raiding nearby villages, leaving devastation in their wake. Fear rippled through the community, and the villagers began to prepare for the worst. Nafula, always the pillar of strength, reassured her children. "We will stay strong, my loves," she said, holding Mirembe and Kato close. But Mirembe could feel her mother's trembling hands and see the worry in her eyes. That night, the militia stormed their village. The air was filled with screams, the acrid smell of smoke, and the sound of gunfire. Nafula instructed Mirembe to take Kato and hide in the bushes while she stayed behind to face the intruders. "Protect your brother," Nafula whispered, her voice firm despite the tears streaming down her face. Mirembe clutched Kato's hand and ran into the darkness, her heart pounding. The next morning, the village was unrecognizable. Homes were reduced to ashes, and the ground was littered with remnants of the lives once lived. Mirembe and Kato returned cautiously, only to find their home destroyed. Nafula was nowhere to be seen. Mirembe called out for her mother, her voice cracking with desperation. An elder finally approached her, his face lined with sorrow. "Your mother," he stammered, unable to complete the sentence. But the truth was clear. Nafula had sacrificed herself so others could escape. Mirembe's knees gave way, and she crumbled to the ground, clutching Kato tightly. The weight of their loss was unbearable, yet she had to stay strong for her brother. With no home and no family left to turn to, Mirembe decided to leave the village and seek refuge in the city. She had heard stories of Kampala, a bustling city where they might find help. The journey was treacherous. They walked for days, surviving on wild fruits and water from muddy streams. Mirembe's feet bled, and Kato grew weaker with each passing day. One evening, they encountered a kind stranger, an elderly woman named Aken, who gave them food and pointed them toward a safe path. "You are brave beyond your years," Aken told Mirembe. "Never lose hope." Those words became Mirembe's anchor as they continued their journey, enduring hunger, exhaustion, and fear. When Mirembe and Kato finally arrived in Kampala, they were overwhelmed by the noise, crowds, and towering buildings. The city was a far cry from their village, and finding shelter was nearly impossible. They ended up on the streets, begging for food and sleeping on cold pavements. One night, Kato fell gravely ill. Mirembe's heart broke as she watched her brother's small body shiver uncontrollably. She carried him to a clinic, where a compassionate nurse named Sarah took them in. Sarah not only treated Kato but also arranged for them to stay at a nearby orphanage. "You're not alone anymore," Sarah said, her words a balm to Mirembe's aching soul. At the orphanage, Mirembe and Kato slowly began to heal. They attended school for the first time, and Mirembe discovered a love for storytelling. Her tales, woven with the threads of her own experiences, captivated everyone who heard them. She realized that sharing stories could inspire and educate others. Years passed, and Mirembe grew into a strong, compassionate young woman. She became a teacher, dedicating her life to helping orphan children like herself and Kato. Her resilience and kindness became a beacon of hope for others. Pain shapes us, she often told her students. But it is love and courage that define us. Mirembe's story spread far and wide, inspiring people to support children affected by conflict and poverty. Her courage resonated with those who heard it, as did her unwavering commitment to helping others overcome adversity. She often spoke about the importance of unity and compassion, reminding her listeners that every act of kindness could ignite change. One memorable day, she stood before an audience at an international conference, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We are stronger together than we are alone," she said, looking out at the faces in the crowd. "If my mother's sacrifice taught me anything, it is that love has the power to conquer even the darkest of times. We must carry that love forward." Her words moved the audience to tears, sparking a movement that united people from diverse backgrounds to fight for the rights and futures of vulnerable children. Mirembe's name became synonymous with hope, and her story a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next videos. You can also comment, like and share to help us spread the word about Africa.